ever imagine, like, popping a pill, but it was made in space?
Mm.
Or calling a robo-taxi right here on Earth, but it uses tech designed for orbit? Wild, right?
Definitely not your typical commute.
Well, get ready, because today we are diving deep into the booming space economy. Real companies, real projects happening right now.
And you listening, you sent us the good stuff. A whole stack of articles about companies making big moves beyond Earth's atmosphere.
I gotta admit, I am so ready to unpack all this future stuff with our expert.
Let's do it. What's blowing my mind is how fast we're going from what if to how soon. These aren't just like, far out ideas anymore.
Yeah.
We're talking business plans, launch dates, serious investments.
And speaking of serious, one article that caught my eye, manufacturing medicine in space.
Yeah.
Actual factories just floating up there.
Sounds crazy, but it's happening. Company name is leading this whole thing, and the reason is, well, pretty smart. Microgravity. They use it to grow these drug crystals that are almost perfect.
Okay, so why does that matter for us back on Earth?
Imagine meds with way fewer side effects because the crystals are so pure and stable. Space could change medicine completely.
Whoa. Okay, so let's say they make these miracle meds up there. Getting them back down safely, that's going to be stressful, right?
No kidding. That re-entry vehicle, it's got to handle heat hotter than the sun's surface, pressure that could crush, almost anything. And the medicine inside has to be totally fine.
So how are they pulling that off?
Company name is all over it. They're building reusable re-entry vehicles. Safer, but also cheaper in the long run.
Which seems to be the theme here, right? Taking these huge ideas and making them actually work down here.
Totally.
Which brings us to, of course, Tesla. Robotaxis are already a big deal, but now they're jumping in with a space twist.
Right. The Cybercab itself, not for space travel, not yet anyway.
Right.
But the hype is real. Open an app, and boom, a driverless Cybercab shows up instead of a regular car. Tesla's betting big on this being how we get around in cities.
And think about what that means for cities. Less traffic, maybe safer streets. But the article also said investors weren't totally sold on this one.
Yeah, understandable. Tesla's good at the big reveal, but they give us many details.
Like what?
Like, how's the self-driving going to handle city streets, which are way more complicated than, highways? What about all the rules and regulations? And will cybercabs be competing with Uber and Lyft or working with them? Lots of questions.
Lots of questions indeed. And speaking of questions, any word on the Tesla everyone's been waiting for? The Model 2.
Nope, nothing. Investors wanted info, but Tesla's keeping quiet for now.
So Tesla, big hype, big potential, big question marks.
Pretty much.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From vehicles to something just as important for all this space stuff, the infrastructure.
Right, the support system for everything happening up there.
Yeah, 2 of these articles you sent were all about companies tackling that challenge.
It's like building a city, but in space.
Yeah.
Power, communication, transportation. Way, way harder.
Understatement. And one company, Northwood, is all about a problem that's just going to get bigger, staying connected up there, more satellites, more stuff to keep track of.
And to do that, they're building these super antennas.
Not just any old satellite dish.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
These things are high-tech. We're talking crazy fast communication with satellites, even from remote places on Earth.
Okay, so explain that like I'm, well, not a rocket scientist.
Think about when you're streaming something and it keeps buffering, right? That wheel just spinning.
Ugh, the worst.
These antennas, they're like the opposite of that. Smooth, super fast connection all the time. That's the kind of revolution in communication we're talking about.
And speed is everything when you're beaming tons of data back and forth from space, right?
Absolutely.
But these Northwood antennas, you said they can be set up super fast too.
Crazy fast. We're talking hours to get a whole antenna system up and running. Hours, not like weeks or months.
That's wild. It's like they figured out space-age plug-and-play. But it also makes me think, right, we're putting all this incredible stuff up there.
Yeah.
Aren't we basically making a giant target? Like, shouldn't we be worried about security in space just as much as down here?
Definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
You build a whole spacefaring civilization, you better protect it too, right?
Right.
And that's where Anduril comes in. They're not building spaceships, they're building the guardians of space.
Okay, now that is interesting. Guardians of space. What does that even mean?
So imagine like space traffic control, but way more advanced.
Yeah.
And with some serious defense capabilities built in.
Okay.
Anduril uses AI and like really powerful machine learning to watch everything happening in orbit.
Everything.
Pretty much. Tracking objects super accurately,
Yeah.
predicting collisions before they even get close. They can even spot potential threats, stuff that looks suspicious, protecting our stuff up there.
Wait, so this AI can tell if something's going to hit a satellite and maybe even defend against, like, actual attacks? That sounds like a movie.
Except it's real. And it's not just watching. Anduril is building these new propulsion systems for satellites.
Propulsion, so they can, what, dodge out of the way if something's coming at them.
Exactly. Super fast, super precise movements. Give those satellites a fighting chance. It's pretty amazing.
So we're not just throwing stuff into space blindly anymore. We're actually thinking about how to protect it all.
It's all about adapting, right? These companies are thinking ahead, tackling the challenges of space head on.
Yeah, it's pretty inspiring stuff. And what I'm realizing is it's all connected. It's not just individual companies doing their own thing. It's like this whole ecosystem building up.
Totally. It's a whole new way of thinking about space. Less about competing with each other, more about working together. A shared mission.
To do what? What's the end goal?
To make space accessible for
Yeah.
everyone. To make it sustainable. To use it to benefit everyone on Earth. It's a big goal, but that's what's driving all this innovation.
It's like we're watching a whole new industry being born right in front of us, this space-based economy.
And it's not just about the cool tech, though there's plenty of that. It's about what it could do for us down here.
Give me an example. Like, what kind of possibilities are we talking about?
Manufacturing in space.
Yeah.
Could be anything. Energy, computing power. Imagine if asteroid mining wasn't sci-fi anymore, but how we got resources.
Okay, that's a big one, asteroids.
Right. And it could be way better for the planet than, digging everything up down here.
A few years ago, this would have sounded like, I don't know, Star Trek stuff. But it's becoming real. And that's what's so cool about these companies. They're not just talking, they're doing it.
Exactly. And that's what I hope people take away from this. This isn't the future, it's now. These companies are hiring, they're attracting money, they're pushing the limits every day.
So if you're listening to this and thinking, whoa, this is wild, what should you do?
Dive in. Learn more about these companies. Follow what they're doing. Who knows, maybe you'll be building the next generation of space tech.
I love that. A call to action for our listeners.
Why not?
Because this isn't just about a few companies, is it? It's about all of us. How we handle this whole space thing, how we balance doing amazing stuff with doing it responsibly.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And it starts with knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Paying attention to what's happening up there.
Exactly. Well said. Well, folks, that's another deep dive in the books. Thanks for coming along on this journey into the future of space with us.
Always a trip.
Until next time, keep looking up. Who knows what we'll be talking about then?